A very good evening to you, dear viewer. It's the 9th of April 2026. My name is Patricia Lukoma. First, though, the top stories.
The news headlines are brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date with your regulated financial institution. Customer deposits are protected up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
President Yoweri Museveni weighs in on NRM's speakership race. Buganda NRM candidates seek meeting with President Yoweri Museveni over the 2026 polls. Chief Justice Flavian Zaija calls for unlocking of 7 trillion shillings. And lastly, government reaffirms Nile River date towards development after Egypt's talk.
The news headlines were brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date with your regulated financial institution. Customer deposits are protected up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
And as we start off with a speakership race, President Yoweri Museveni has said that the National Resistance Movement Caucus will make the final decision on whether Anita Among will contest for the position of Speaker of Parliament and Thomas Tayebwa for Deputy Speaker. The President's clarification follows a declaration by a Ringa South MP of Parliament, Alioni Yoki Odrea, who expressed interest in contesting for the speakership during a meeting held at Chankwanzi on Wednesday. Now, President Museveni emphasized that the decision taken by the NRM Central Executive Committee regarding Among and Tayebwa will be formally explained and discussed within the party caucus before a final position is adopted.
I also want to tell Ugandans and my colleagues here,
thank you. 2 minutes.
I am one of the 4 candidates contesting for speakership, flag bearership under the NRM. And we are calling for rule of law, equity in the activities of SEC. I beg to submit.
Thank you, my brother.
And at the right time,
Next.
I request for an appointment as usual.
2 minutes.
Odia also is standing for speaker. That one we shall discuss at the right time, because SEC had recommended that we maintain the 2 because it had become like a tradition. But this was now, stop it, Nani. This was our recommendation. It is not us who decide. We recommend and then we can reason why. So, when the time comes, we shall be able to discuss it and explain why. But we are not the ones who elect. We recommend. And we support our recommendation with the reasons.
Now, the Chief Justice, Flavian Zager, has urged the judiciary to embrace alternative dispute resolution mechanisms as a means of unlocking trillions of shillings tied up in commercial court disputes. Justice Zager noted that ADR approaches, including mediation, negotiation, and arbitration, provide efficient ways to resolve complex cases without the high costs associated with prolonged litigation.
Alternative dispute resolution is not a lesser form of justice, but rather a sophisticated complement that prioritizes speed, technical expertise, and confidentiality, key elements in the commercial and financial sectors. This is according to the Governor of the Bank of Uganda, Michael Atingi Ego.
ADR mechanisms, mediation, negotiation, and arbitration offer a way to resolve these complexities without adversarial depletion of funds. That's why ADR is not merely a justice sector matter. To us, it is a macroeconomic imperative that is required to achieve our Vision 2040 and the ambitious tenfold growth agenda.
With over 7 trillion shillings reportedly locked up in commercial disputes, according to the Uganda Bankers Association, stakeholders say adopting faster and more efficient dispute resolution mechanisms is long overdue.
Currently, it is reported that about 623 unresolved banking cases are locking up an estimated Uganda shillings 7 trillion, according to the Uganda Bankers Association, in disputed value. For the economy, this is dead capital.
This engagement will allow us to reflect on the issues that sit at the intersection of law, finance, and the broader economy. Commercial disputes, particularly those involving financial institutions, are becoming increasingly complex and multiple. When these disputes are not resolved, and they are not resolved promptly, they affect business continuity, livelihoods, and the broader financial.
While officiating at the opening of a 2-day judicial officers colloquium at Serena Chigo, the Chief Justice Flavian Zager emphasized the importance of integrating ADR into the formal court process, not merely as an alternative, but as a core component of case disposal.
I restate here that judges do not resolve cases, they decide them. And many times when we decide cases, the decisions do not necessarily bring the disputes to an end. The witness, the litigant appears. When a dispute is commercial in nature, the stakes are even much higher, and appeals can be multiple, sometimes dragging on for years. Prolonged litigation of commercial cases has far-reaching consequences for the financial system and the broader commercial environment.
Justice Zager expressed optimism that the colloquium will yield practical outcomes to support the financial sector and the broader economy. His sentiments were echoed by players in the banking sector.
And as a sector, we are agreed and aligned in this particular scale and shape. We believe done neatly, we should be able to forge forward, but also then in terms of the going forward, as a sector, we also further acknowledge that we need to see how we support mediation.
The Judicial Officers Colloquium 2026 is being held under the theme From Litigation to Resolution, Unlocking Commercial Disputes Through Alternative Dispute Resolution. Dennis Igoa for UBC.
Thank you very much there, Dennis. Now, a French delegation has conducted a pre-investment inspection of the Nalubale-Kira hydropower rehabilitation project that is aimed at strengthening Uganda's electricity generation infrastructure. Let's hear more in this report.
The rehabilitation of the Nalubale-Kira hydropower complex is expected to safeguard Uganda's electricity generation capacity while improving the resilience to climate-related challenges like rising water levels.
We are going to work on the turbines themselves and the generators whatever is wrong with them is going to be rectified. In Nalubale specifically, we have a lot of old systems in the machines, different parts that need to be machined, renewed. So to reset the machines to their basic, to their design level, that's what refurbishments do. So that's the target.
Preparations are underway as international partners assess investment commitments.
Right now, the feasibility studies are nearly completed. There is a consultant finalizing the environmental and social impact assessment.
In the powers of Nalubale, we know that we have cracks due to the cement reacting with aggregates, which we call the alkali silicate reaction. It's something that began when the plant was commissioned in the 50s and has progressed, but the rate of progression is very low. And so we are able to work on that. So we are going to reinforce the structure.
The project will modernize electromechanical systems, strengthen dam safety infrastructure, and expand water speeding capacity to manage extreme hydrological conditions.
It is that this is a multiple turbine. It was conceived in a multiple turbine. There are 10 units on Nalubale, 5 more on Chira, meaning while doing the work, the dam and the capacity of production should not be shut down.
A fund of 170 million euros will include 73 million euros alone from French Development Agency, a grant of 2 million euros from French Development Agency, 65 million euros alone from European Investment Bank, 30 million euros a grant from European Investment Bank.
Part is a grant for financing, to meeting some of the financing things, supervision, which we are talking about the owner's engineer. But the actual works, we are looking at 134 million euros on ground in this first phase.
We expect the EIB to approve the additional financing by the end of the year for the Ministry of Finance to be able to commit after the Parliament approval for this double loan and to sign the agreement by the end of the year.
The partnership reflects shared priorities in promoting sustainable growth, energy access and climate action. Abudu Nasele Lobwama and Regana Humza for UBC.
The Bank of Uganda has commenced on purchasing and refining a locally sourced gold mining from various regions across the country. Now, in an interview with UBC, the governor of Bank of Uganda, Michael Atinge Igo, revealed the 2 indigenous refineries, and that's Eurogold Refinery Uganda and Feldstein Trading Limited, have been contracted to refine and purify Uganda's gold to international monetary standards.
Following the signing of the gold refining and purification agreements with Eurogold Refinery and Feldstein Trading Limited, the central bank says all systems are now in place to operationalize the initiative.
So they will be the ones that will be refining the gold that will be buying, because also we've signed contracts with gold suppliers. So the gold suppliers will be taking the gold to these refineries where the Bank of Uganda will be meeting them to buy. And why are we going to the refineries? We are going to refineries to facilitate the testing, the purity of the gold that we are buying, because we want to ensure that the gold we are buying is first of all mined here locally.
Technical teams from the Bank of Uganda have since inspected the licensed facilities to assess the operational capacity and compliance with the required standards. But why is the central bank engaging directly with the local refineries?
The miners are selling to Bank of Uganda will be tested in these refineries because they have the equipment for now. So they will test to ensure the purity level. And then after we've done that, we will then take this gold to the Bank of Uganda vaults for some time until we realize a certain quantum.
Eurogold Refinery Executive Director Bernard Fenny has welcomed the partnership with government, describing it as both timely and transformative for Uganda's mineral sector.
Of course, this one means a lot to us. One, it means, of course, the relationship itself being strengthened with Central Bank, with Uganda actually, Ugandan government, which is a very good thing, particularly for an indigenous refinery, a Ugandan-owned refinery. It's actually a very good signal to out there that we're in the right course. As you know, this was an open bid for an indigenous company like Urogo Refinery, the Ugandan-owned company, to win this contract. It's a very good milestone for us.
He notes that the absence of internationally certified refineries in the country has long fueled unregulated trade and black market activities.
So what the illegal traders had to do was just to sell their products raw, and there was no another option. Looking at the condition by the government, where that no gold leaves the country without being refined. There were no refineries that were welcoming illegal traders, or let's say people, or anyone outside there. But all I can say is now there's an open, legit, and available refinery.
Under the domestic gold purchase program, the Bank of Uganda plans to acquire significant volumes of gold annually. Dennis Igoa and Juman Samba for UBC.
And a refinery is quite a good idea for our economy. Now, permanent secretaries from various ministries have been challenged to guard peace in the institutions they serve and to practice tolerance, because violence arising from these offices results to conflict which affects everyone around them. Now, while receiving the award as the third Goodwill Ambassador of the Always Be Tolerant organization, ABETO, a peace-focused non-government organization, the Minister for Energy, Ruth Nankabirwa, said peace is vulnerable and elusive and must be guarded jealously.
And media visibility for Uganda's hosting of the recent NAM.
The Always Be Tolerant organization ABETO has awarded peace honors to outstanding permanent secretaries from ministries, including Information, Communication and Technology, Lands, Tourism, and the Office of the President and the Chairperson of the Public Service Commission.
Awarding His Excellency the President, I reported to him that the youth are living in an ideological vacuum, which vacuum is being filled by garbage on the internet. And now these smartphones has become worse now. So something must be done to make sure that the youth are brought to in line and they are peaceful.
The Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Ruth Nankabirwa, was also presented with the award of the third Goodwill Ambassador of ABETO, succeeding Betty Bigombe. She urged the 2026 awardees to guard peace jealously, describing it as fragile and easily lost.
Honorable Minister,
I must demonstrate peace. Peace comes when you are tolerant. If you are not tolerant, you box somebody, you abuse, you stand up, you move out of, you are not tolerant. You cannot be peaceful when you are not tolerant, because challenges will always come. But those acts have ripple, effects onto other shareholders and stakeholders. You are one person or two, you are not thinking about other stakeholders.
During the acceptance speeches, the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, Winnie Kabogoza Musoke, pledged to ensure that the best human resources are selected to prevent corruption. Meanwhile, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of ICT, Amina Zawede, emphasized that technology should be developed with shared values, including peace and tolerance.
That okay, we give the best human resources, but you find there are others who don't live up to the task. And we are going to fight these vices. Corruption, we shall rally behind the president and fight that vice of corruption. It's not an easy vice to fight, but we shall try.
Of ICT, we do a lot of things. We are driving digitization, innovation. However, I want to emphasize that technology alone isn't enough. Our progress has to be anchored in shared values. It has to be anchored in peace, in tolerance, and a responsible mind. And mindful use of information is a true foundation of what we must do. Of course, what we see on social media sometimes, the negativity, is not what we are promoting.
The Permanent Secretary in the Office of the President, Hajinus Kakande, who also received a Peace Award, called on people to condemn leaders worldwide who promote conflict and cause human suffering.
Disrupted economic activities have been disrupted. The social networks, Middle East and the world has been also disrupted because of the wars which are ongoing now. Suffering in Chuba, people don't have power in Chuba. People don't have petrol and diesel in Chuba. Medicines are not there now.
Meanwhile, as Abeto implements its peace education and training syllabus in schools, experts have urged the organization to extend the program to the families of people affected by war.
So to bridge the gaps between the men and the women, the elders or the elderly, the elders and the youth, they need help. And the issue of trauma, we don't talk enough about trauma. So Moses, make sure you throw in trauma in there. Working on trauma prevention and healing. So mental health and psychosocial support, I do that. For me, it's the basis of my work.
I'm Nafka Farida and Dan Lugemwa in Kampala.
Well, thank you both. Now, Uganda has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening economic cooperation with Denmark. At a high-level meeting held at State House, Investors Protection Unit officers officials emphasized that Uganda's readiness to attract Danish investment, particularly in key sectors such as renewable energy, agro-processing and infrastructure.
The meeting between senior government officials alongside private sector representatives and a delegation from the Danish embassy focused on expanding bilateral trade, boosting investment flows and deepening industrial collaboration between the two countries. Colonel Edith Nakalema, head of the State House Investors Protection Unit, underscored the importance of collaboration between government institutions and investors in ensuring a stable and a predictable business climate as they attract long-term foreign direct investment.
Therefore, we are delighted to see that you are keen to deepen cooperation that will mutually benefit the two economies through investment and trade.
The discussions further explored opportunities for technology transfer and skills development and aimed at supporting Uganda's long-term economic growth and industrialization agenda.
We are focused to ensuring that we mobilize all stakeholders in supporting investments, but when it comes to industrialization, we give it even much more attention because it's where we find what we need most.
Particular attention was given to government procurement processes and how they can better support international investors to strengthen business operation in Uganda.
They are keen to expand their engagement with the government of Uganda, and we are keen to support them in terms of seeking clarity of public procurement processes. It's an important priority for us, particularly in sectors such as the automobile sector, where the government is a big partner and one where we would like to work with you.
If the investors
are investing in products that the government consume. For example, motor vehicles, medicines, agricultural inputs. Then they will be sure that they can benefit from the PPDA guideline number 12 of supporting local content.
Investors highlighted some of the challenges faced in investing in Uganda, including high taxes that strain their businesses.
For us to promote electric mobility in this country, I know the President is passionate about local manufacturing. We can't forget that. And we will slowly get there. But we are saying in the short term, is there a way he can reconsider so that we have the 25% waived?
The government remained committed to addressing investor concerns as it works to attract more foreign investment and strengthen ties with Denmark. Abdunasele Lukoma and Regan Ahumza for UBC.
And in the area of expenditure, the Ministry of Finance has released the 17.4 trillion shillings for the fourth quarter of financial year 2025-2026, pushing the cumulative spending to shilling 77.0 trillion shillings. Now, despite the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, the government says Uganda's economic remains resilient and on track for stronger growth this year.
The Ministry of Finance officials told a press briefing today that the Q4 release supports the tenfold growth strategy while keeping fiscal discipline intact. Preliminary data shows the economy expanded by 8.5% in the second quarter of financial year 2025-26, lifting first half growth to 6.7%.
When you hear these geopolitical tensions, what have you, they are bringing opportunities to Uganda. If now you see investment, some investors who thought certain places were better than others, now they realize that actually Uganda is more stable.
Civil society representatives who joined the briefing welcomed the focus on productive sectors, noting that the timely funding for the parish development model and Emyoga programs is finally translating into household incomes and market participation in rural areas.
The second item, Chair, is it's about, for us, I think it's on budget efficiency, and I think this is an issue that has come up. We understand that the commercial courts and tax tribunals are sitting on cases worth more than 14 trillion Ugandan shillings. And their biggest problem has been that they are heavily understaffed. In fact, they say that only 38% of staff is available.
The briefing comes weeks after the country concluded general elections amid global uncertainty, yet the shilling has stayed strong.
You are right, probably if the war drags on for long, what is it? But what is it that will happen in terms of the price of fuel? But I think it will not increase as fast as it's increasing in other countries because of the four things that we did. One, is the sole importer of the fuel, and we signed a very good contract with Vital. And Vital supplier is keeping the rates quite stable.
The Q4 allocations target the 4 ATM's pillars. Wadulo Arnold Mark for UBC News at the Finance Ministry in Kampala.
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Mama, balance? Eh? Ah, Mama, nkwenye kumitano.
Ompa ile kumibiri.
Abantu abakuluma atandisa obuyayi mwena.
Obuyayi obuliga.
Iwe.
Ngobi yanko bantu
sente dange ninzade kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
It's back, bigger and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
And into another segment, the NRM Patriotic Candidates 2025 Buganda have commended the party leadership for the ongoing retreat of the newly elected NRM members of parliament at Chankwanzi, describing it as timely and vital for the country's economic and social development.
NRM won 67 out of 110 parliamentary seats in Buganda in the 2026 general elections compared to 31 seats in 2021. However, the NRM patriotic candidates who stepped aside after losing party primaries say they contributed significantly to this achievement by avoiding vote splitting.
Because if it wasn't for us, who knows if they wouldn't be there. We did a big role because now, like in my constituents, were 8 candidates in the primaries. Think of a situation if all of us came back, would he solicit all those votes that led him through?
The message to the president and all the leaders who promised us some good things. We shall not get tired until Mzee calls us.
They are now calling on the Central Executive Committee to organize a similar retreat before the swearing-in ceremony next month.
There are some promises he made to us, including deployments, these are job opportunities, and also requested us to be together. And we agreed to form a circle. We have a circle which is registered NRM Patriotic Candidates for Uganda 2025.
The Deputy Chairperson Alex Gumisiriza also weighed in.
Really, the time came when we reached the State House and there are promises that were given to us. But now, a promise is a deed. You know, when someone promises you something, then you must remind that person that you promised me this. And then I was like, no, let us meet and discuss about this matter.
The NRM Patriotic Candidates 2025 Buganda, who stepped aside after losing party primaries, are estimated at over 120.
And in the health sector, as we look at mental health, as the world struggles to deal with pandemics like HIV/AIDS, cancer, and COVID-19, mental health has been long forgotten to be declared one. According to Susan Oyesije, the principal, Kampala University Nursing School, the mental health is a small forgotten pandemic that is eating up the world with speed and should be declared world disaster with a precision that it deserves.
They are mentally ill. And this is a subject matter that has been deserted. Yet it's among us and people do not really give it attention. Until they see someone stoning people, that's when they know that they are mentally ill. But it is there and it's present, and we are training our students on how to manage such people in the community. They have to be saved from the community, and the community also has to be saved from them in case they come up alarming. But for us to keep ourselves mentally healthy, we have to live to have the complete meals. Like we have to have a balanced diet, we have to sleep early, at least by 10, we have to be in bed. We have to work out at least 3 times a week and for 30 minutes. And we also have to have social people that we share with whatever goes on. And if you don't have someone you share with, you can journal. There's what we call journaling. You write down your issues and then burn them or discard them.
Now, inside Lira Hospital, Lira Regional Referral Hospital has unveiled strategic interventions aimed at improving service delivery across the Langos region.
Lira Regional Referral Hospital is taking bold steps to transform healthcare delivery anchored on innovation, accountability and strategic planning.
The hospital is now quite different.
At the center of this reform is the Hospital Parliament, an internal oversight body composed of heads of departments and elected staff representatives.
There will be a connection.
The Parliament plays a critical role in holding management accountable and shaping policy direction.
To find out where the problem is, what is causing the problem, solutions, and also making you know that something somewhere is happening.
They also help the top management in planning and then tracking to see the progress.
It is this very body that resolved the hospital director delivers an annual state of hospital address, an idea that has now come to life for the first time.
As a hospital, we undertook some innovation.
A major highlight of the address was the announcement that the hospital has secured an additional 4.8 billion shillings to recruit over 150 health workers in the next financial year. This is expected to significantly boost staffing levels and improve patient care.
We do not have enough money to build big structures, but whatever these small structures can do, we will repurpose them to use in the meantime as we hope for better opportunities ahead.
The director also revealed plans to expand infrastructure, including construction of a new ward complex, staff housing and completion of hospital fencing, alongside reclaiming encroached land. On healthcare services, the hospital is strengthening specialized care in areas such as cardiology, fertility treatment, neonatology, neurotrauma and endoscopy. Despite these strides, Dr. Andrew Dura expressed concerns over the rising disease burden, particularly malaria, abortion and sickle cell disease. He warned that unsafe abortion practices are leading to severe complications, including loss of the uterus among women, and called for urgent collective action.
Should be able to answer these. Too many abortions. Are these illegal abortions? Are they spontaneous?
To address malaria, the hospital is improving efficiency in its pharmacy system, ensuring timely access to treatment.
We have adequate stock of artesunate that can last us 6 months. We have reached there because we are no longer losing medicine.
In addition, investments in infrastructure and equipment are beginning to pay off.
About 15 babies who will be benefiting from open heart surgeries.
The hospital has also embraced environmental sustainability, implementing a Kavera-free policy and tree planting initiatives to create a healthy environment. Edi Ulwa, UBC News.
Still in the health sector, the government has launched a nationwide mosquito net distribution campaign targeting millions of Ugandans in a renewed push against malaria, one of the country's leading public health threats.
Uganda continues to face a high malaria burden, recording over 11 million cases and more than 2,000 deaths in 2025, with more than half among young children. Richard Kabanda, Commissioner for Health Promotions, Education and Strategic Communication at the Ministry of Health, attributes the rise to prevention gaps, climate factors, and misuse of interventions.
Increase is attributed to several factors, including laxity of our communities in adherence to malaria prevention and treatment guidelines, which the Ministry of Health provides regularly. Other factors include the climate variations and the biological threats that undermine the performance of malaria prevention and control.
The current campaign, valued at approximately 365 billion shillings, is funded by the government and development partners.
The Ministry of Health, through its Malaria Elimination Strategy 2025-2026, seeks to address these gaps in malaria prevention and control. The strategy is focused on reducing malaria death to zero. 2 is going to start in this month of April, and we are going to distribute 4.8 million mosquito nets across 32 districts. So we are going to target 8.1 million Ugandans in wave 2. That's the April wave. And we are going to target the following districts: Agago, Amuru, Gulu. The allocation of waves is based on the highest burden of malaria.
Wave 2 of mosquito net distribution is starting April, targeting northern Uganda. Wave 3 starting in May, covering districts of West Nile, and Wave 4 covering districts in Buganda, excluding Kampala and Wakiso, which will get its share in the 5th wave. Irene Faith Nantongo, Kenneth Tanaba, UBC News.
Ugandans have been urged to prioritize investment in the health sector as a key driver of the country's future development. This call comes during a high-level conference at Makerere University School of Public Health, where leaders, researchers, and policymakers gathered to discuss financing and health for Uganda's transformation.
At Makerere University, stakeholders highlighted the urgent need to strengthen Uganda's health systems amid rising cases of both communicable and non-communicable diseases. The conference emphasized that investing in health improves lives while boosting national productivity and economic growth, crucial as Uganda works towards its long-term development goals. Ramadan Gobi, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, noted that investing in health should be viewed as a strategic economic decision rather than a cost, stressing that a healthy population is essential for national development.
Government of Uganda has taken this choice to progressively increase domestic health allocations and protect them from in-year cuts and cash flow disruptions. Some of the key high-impact interventions which we are prioritizing are, number 1, to functionalize health center force and strengthen primary care and community health services.
He explained that Uganda continues to face challenges such as maternal health concerns, infectious diseases, and the increasing burden of lifestyle-related illnesses, which require sustained and well-planned financing.
And around 4% of Ugandans spend more than 25% of their household consumption on health care. This is poverty generated by illness, and we must do something about it. The recurrent budget alone will not close the gap in health. We must mobilize longer-term domestic capital without adding fiscal risk to the economy.
Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, Vice-Chancellor of Makerere University, and Dr. Crispus Walter Chiyonga, Chancellor of Makerere University, emphasized the importance of research and innovation in shaping Uganda's health future. They noted that evidence-based data is critical in guiding policy decisions and resource allocations. They stressed expanding village-level healthcare to reduce distance barriers and improve health outcomes, ensuring effective and sustainable care delivery.
We have a lot of specialized programs that are helping the country to avoid taking people abroad for treatment. Our biggest dream, of course, now is to have a dedicated teaching and research hospital.
But out there in the village, the boy, the girl in a primary school wants an anti-malaria. Draw a strategy to go to the village for health care delivery. There is no other way. You can't deliver it from far.
Public service officials highlighted the need for accountability and improved service delivery, urging Ugandans to actively participate in government health programs and adopt preventive health practices.
We have seen overstretched workers and inconsistent supervision that reduce service quality. To close the gap, we must move from diagnosis to decisive action. No facility should exist without the human resources needed to make it functional.
Well, it's time for us to take another short break, and we will return with more news. Stay with us.
When you don't use Momo, you get insulted by strangers. Save yourself from insults. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution, or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone, or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312-206-400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
Welcome back from that short break. It's time for us to look at what's happening in the world of business now. Under the new Building Control Act, assented to by the President on March 19th, 2026, building committees have been granted express powers to order the demolition of unsafe structures, unlike before when such action required written orders, often exposing Ugandans' lives to risk from errant developers.
The Executive Secretary of the National Building Review Board, Engineer Flavia Bwiri, has said the amendments are a bold move by government to address long-standing gaps in the building sector. Negligent builders now face stricter penalties under the revised law.
All of us, especially in the press, we've known of incidents of building collapses that have claimed life and property. In response to this, Parliament enacted the Building Control Act Cap 136, which provided for regulation of the building operations, standards and maintenance of materials.
Engineer Bwire says only qualified technical personnel will form the new building committees. To strengthen oversight, these committees will be required to submit quarterly reports to the National Building Review Board.
So the new membership only consists of technical persons. No politicians are in the committee. Further, in order to enhance the supervisory role at the local government, the accounting officers have been removed from the committees, and their role is basically now to appoint the committee and also to oversee what the committee does within that jurisdiction.
The penalties for liability in accidents occurring in buildings or on construction sites have been increased to 10 million Uganda shillings, up from 5.6 million Uganda shillings.
The liability for causing accidents has also been increased from 288 currency points. What the minister prohibited, that is steel, timber, concrete, composite. If you're using that method, for every square meter you have built with that method, you shall be liable to 100,000 shillings per square meter. And many Ugandans that have used that method are building high-rise buildings. So you can figure out how many square meters we are talking about.
Penalties for constructing without a permit, regardless of building classification, have also been increased from a fine of 1 million Uganda shillings or 2 years imprisonment to 5 years imprisonment or a fine of 40,000 shillings per square meter or both.
Previously, for constructing without a building permit, you paid 50 currency points, which was 1 million or 2 years imprisonment. Today, it is 2 currency points per square meter.
The amendments form part of broader deterrent measures aimed at improving building safety and strengthening accountability in Uganda's construction industry. Crispus Arinitwe, Happy Aijuka, reporting for UBC.
Now, the Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Msenero, has assured Ugandans that the country's journey towards achieving a $500 billion economy is right on course. She says science, innovation and technology, especially made in Ugandan products, are no longer just ideas, but a driving force that is shaping the country's future.
For the past 5 years, Uganda has made notable strides in science and innovation with developments such as the Chira Motors, Kayola buses, locally manufactured products, and various digital and technological solutions contributing to national socio-economic transformation.
Jen.
At the launch, Dr. Monica Msenero officially flagged off the 2026 National Science, Innovation and Technology Week, which will be held under the theme Science, Technology and Innovation Works, Powering Uganda to a $500 billion economy. The chairperson of the organizing committee, Kathy Muhomuza, says the 4-day event will showcase Uganda's innovation potential and provide a platform for innovators, researchers and industry players.
With your investment, with your support, with your input, we are building billion-dollar innovation-driven enterprises that will not only change our nation or even the region, but have potential for global impact.
The Undersecretary at the Science, Technology and Innovation Secretariat, Peter Ochurien, says there is a need to bridge the gap in public trust towards locally made products, adding that the Science Week will bring innovation closer to the people.
The Made in Uganda is a platform that we all need to get into, that we all need to ensure that we take advantage of and buy our products. And 3 is to ensure that we speak about them. If I have got value out of our products, I should be able to speak about these particular products. By being the mouthpiece, then we create confidence within the rest of the team.
All the producers, all the Ugandans who are looking to be able to produce products, the Made in Uganda platform creates market access. We are also offering support underneath all of that through our engine, which is our fulfillment and distribution center. So once you get into the Made in Uganda ecosystem into our fulfillment center. We shall support you with fulfillment, which is delivery. We shall support you in packaging. We shall support you even simply on standardization.
Speaking at the launch, Musenoro emphasized that science and innovation are key tools for wealth creation and economic transformation.
We have developed anchor capabilities, enterprises and platforms that demonstrate what is possible and activate entire value chains around them. And we have positioned Uganda within the global knowledge economy with credibility and intent.
Musenero noted that Uganda has moved beyond the stage where ideas remain theoretical to a phase where innovations are being developed, commercialized, and contributing to the economy.
For decades, our economy expanded, thankfully so, by adding more inputs. We opened up more land, more labor, more capital. But true transformation requires something different. It requires productivity, innovation, and value creation.
The National Science Week will be held from 30th April to 3rd May 2026 at Kololo Independence Grounds and is expected to attract innovators, researchers, exhibitors, and other stakeholders with a focus on promoting the Made in Uganda agenda and accelerating productivity through innovation. Komagum Rogers and Rebecca Nantongo for UBC. Okay.
Are you looking for a home away from home? Then this is the place for you. My name is Chini Kaji, and welcome to Hotel Le Confidential.
With 84 comfortable rooms where you can relax and feel safe. Each room has a lovely view of green vegetation, Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and a tasty breakfast.
Children can have fun at our kids' water park and our kids' play area. You can also enjoy our world-class health club, spa, sauna, gym, boutique, and sky blue swimming pool.
Thank you for choosing Hotel Le Confidential, where every stay is unforgettable. Come and stay in comfort, right at home, today, tomorrow, and always.
Well, time for sports. The first edition of the J&J football tournament has kicked off at Kapokene Playgrounds in Atotor, Kumi district, bringing together young talent in a week-long competition aimed at nurturing future stars.
A total of 15 teams registered. A total of 15 teams registered for the first edition of the J&J football tournament, turning the event into a vibrant showcase of grassroots football in the Teso sub-region. Sports commentator and UBC Magic Radio manager Peter Otai used the platform to inspire young players to take sports seriously as a pathway to success.
For a very long time, Teso has actually been producing few footballers. Case in point, Emmanuel Okwi. Right now, there is a footballer who comes from here who plays for Vipers. That is none other than Isaac Ogwang. He actually comes from Atutur. If you have actually followed my commentaries, I love to say the boy from Atutur. That is Isaac Ogwang. So he's a product from here. It's actually an honor to be here. I believe many have actually followed the commentary. Many have watched the game on TV. And many would actually love to be like us. So when they see some of us on ground, they be inspired.
The competition is being held in memory of the late Owonyo Isaiah Gray, a son of the soil in Kumi district, who was passionate about sports development.
But to bring the community together, to give so many opportunity and chances, I am truly humbled. I'm still overwhelmed because, as you can see, a lot of these young men in Atutu have a lot of talent that's been hidden. So for God to use me as a vessel to just bring so much talent out, it means a lot to me.
On the pitch, Atutu youngsters booked their place in the finals after edging Osopai FC by 1-0. In the other semi-final, Cubs FC secured a comfortable 2-0 victory over Chamdem FC to set up a final this Friday. Winners of the tournament will walk away with trophies and gold medals. As organizers continue to emphasize the importance of investing in grassroots football, the J&J football tournament not only honors a fallen sports enthusiast, but also offers a platform for young talent in Kumi district to shine and dream bigger.
I think next year is going to be hot because this is the beginning. So I call upon all the government's people, please let's put hands together to help the younger ones. Because you see this generation needs your hands.
Ngabo Amon reporting for UBS TV in Atutu sub-county, Kumi district.
Welcome back from Atutu, Ngabo Amon. Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin. My name is Patricia Lukoma. Let's meet again at 10.